So,
Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk.
yeah, we're back, and today I'm gonna go over a little bit of news.
Yeah, we got some news because the review's going to be a little bit short because
Yeah.
it's just the first 5 issues of the High Republic, and
While
then
I have some feelings, they can wait until the end
yeah,
of the news, because that's more.
and then we got a couple of announcements for the channel.
Yeah, we do.
More so on the Discord side,
Mhm.
and because we're going to announce. So on Discord, I'm going to give a little sneak preview of it. On Discord, I've decided that we're going to do a movie night. The date has not been decided yet, but I did hold a vote for what movie, and I'm going to announce the winner today. And then, I guess if you want to become part of that, and you want to see the movie that wins, then you can join our Patreon. Because I'm pretty sure that's like one of the only ways to get in, unless you know me personally.
Yep.
If you know me personally, then maybe I'll let it slide. But because the vote was between Solo, Venom, and Venom 2.
Yep.
Because those are 3 films that I know people in the Discord have not, certain people have not seen. If you're in the Discord, I think you already know who the winner is, but I'm going to announce it anyways, just so it becomes a closed matter. In fact, let me make sure that you guys in the Discord, that if you're not watching, you know.
Yeah, that's about what I expected.
Yeah. All right. So, let's go ahead and jump into news.
Yeah.
So, where do we want to start? I guess we'll start with Celebration, because there's a lot of stuff that they announced. I basically have finally decided that I'm not going.
Alright.
It was up in the air on if I was going to try to go or not, and I basically finally... I've admitted to myself that I'm just not going.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say what I thought about the end of that. I was like, it's in California. Plane tickets are expensive.
I also
And
don't
they're
have...
probably also bought out.
Yeah,
and
I don't have my
a
ticket
set
yet.
Schedule as well. For the most part, as far as I'm aware.
mean, as far as work goes, I could have asked for that weekend off. So, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But, yeah, it mostly comes down to the travel price and not the ticket itself, because I think it was a joke, but somebody has a ticket, the spare ticket, that we joked that they could give me. They don't know if it would work because it has somebody else's name on it.
Oh.
And they're
they look at your ID.
and they're kind of well known within the Star Wars fan community, like as they're a well-known content creator, and so I definitely don't look like them. But also, I think that ticket was canceled, so they don't know if it would work or not. I don't know the reason why specifically they said it wouldn't work. The reason they have a spare ticket is because they got PR tickets to go. So good on you, though. Hey, if I could get PR tickets, we could get books early.
Oh, yeah.
Which we're actually. I guess that's kind of an announcement. We are trying for that.
We're trying.
I sent an email this week out to Del Rey to see about getting Brotherhood.
Mm.
No word yet, but also it's still a good way out, so no rush. I did ask for 2 though, so that way you can have one. That way,
Like, everybody else only asked for 1. Who does this guy think he is?
especially since it's his first time,
Yeah.
you think he can get... I mean, I'd be happy with just 1. If they say no, just the 1, I'm not going to get upset. It just means only I can read it, and you wouldn't be able
I
to.
have to
You'd have to wait till it actually comes out.
guess the plot based on the front and the back.
Yeah.
Literally
we've seen-
judging a book by
Which we've seen the front. I mean, Well, you also have that one, the one
in the like 5 pages.
Yeah, you got the 5 pages of Asajj Ventress and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as actual Celebration news goes, though, they've announced a Bad Batch panel for Sunday, so the last day of that weekend. Which hopefully they're gonna finally say, "Hey, here's when it's coming out for season 2."
I have a truth to confess.
You haven't watched
the Bad Batch yet, but
I'm not surprised.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it eventually.
We'll get to it in season 3 or 4. I haven't decided if that counts as prequel era or original trilogy.
I think it's original trilogy because it happens
but
after.
But it's immediately after episode 3.
It's in that area.
It's a gray area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did try.
I guess it's a new era because it's the Imperial era. So I guess I would count it as season 4. So we'll get to it in season 4. Season 3 is going to be prequel era content mostly. Just like this season is currently mostly High Republic.
Mm-hmm. I did. I think that's actually where I tried running a tabletop RPG for Stars a while back. That's the era I tried to set it in.
Yeah, I did a one shot of that era of just immediately after episode 3. That's where we got some of our characters for the Edge of the Empire campaign from. Because they came back as NPCs, the ones who lived. Also at Star Celebration, they announced a Mandalorian panel, which makes sense. Pump up season 3.
I don't remember a lot. I remember a few unresolved plot threads.
Like somebody becoming the king of the Mandalorians.
Yeah, he still needs his bath.
Yeah, he's got to take his bath on the Mandalorian.
I know that's probably actually a gross oversimplification.
It is. But yeah, he's got to get baptized essentially.
Yep. Still a whole
that's a little bit of a better description though, because it is kind of a baptism that the armorer spoke of. Speaking of the armorer,
our taboo, but I still kicked that guy's ass super hard, so I'm still the king.
Speaking of the armorer, Emily Swallow has been announced as a guest at Star Wars Celebration.
All right.
Carl Weathers has been announced. That's Grief Karga from Mando.
Oh, okay.
You might know him as Apollo Creed from Rocky. Or in Predator, you might know him as... I had a brain fart. Hold on. I'm going to feel bad if I don't get this, so... Especially since it was brought up last night during a discussion. Dylan. He's the one where they do the man handshake where they just hold on to each other like they're arm wrestling but in the air. And then they also announced Katie Sackhoff, who is Bo-Katan.
Oh.
Both in the animated and live action. Who else did they announce? D. Bradley Baker, so the voice of all the clones. Amy Allen, she plays Ayla Secura. Michelle Ang. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this right. The voice of Omega from Bad Batch.
Oh.
I don't want to. I don't want to. But yeah. Let's see what Google Emma saying says. I can't hear it. Okay, so it's either. Great, thanks, Internet. You definitely helped me figure out which pronunciation to use.
Thanks, Internet. You told me nothing more than what we already were guessing.
Right back where we started. Okay, well, Michelle, who plays Omega, will be there.
Yeah.
Stunt performer Dickie Beer, who did some of the Boba Fett tricks in Return of the Jedi, he'll be attending. And of course last week we already announced Daniel Logan, Giancarlo, and some of the High Republic writing team. Anthony Daniels, aka C-3PO. Daniel Logan is young Boba Fett, by the way. Giancarlo is Moff Moff Gideon from Mandalorian, and then Ian McDermott, the Emperor, will be there, and Ashley Eckstein, Ahsoka, voice actor, will be there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good,
Mr. McDermott. Sorry.
Ian McDermott loves the community.
I'm sorry, you still killed me in episode 3.
Well, he knows what he was doing. He knows what he's a veteran actor. He knows what he was doing. He was like, he looked at those lines and went, "How do I do this in the most spectacular way?" And he nailed it.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I think as far as High Republic writing team, I think we're getting. I know Daniel Jose Older is going to be there.
Okay.
Just because I know people who have talked to him, and they've joked about getting drinks, but not beer because he doesn't drink alcohol.
Huh. Well, that's okay. I get it.
And then
I can't judge anyone.
More than likely, Claudia Gray will be there.
All right.
So Miss Gray, your books are wonderful, but please stop playing with my emotions.
Why you do this to us?
Why do you make me think you killed Leox?
Oh yeah, that was a fucking close shave. Finally, one of the few competent people in Star Wars who's not a traitor.
And then they announced live action filmmakers will be there. So more than likely, maybe they'll have the director of Wonder Woman. She's working on a Star Wars film.
Caleb.
I know.
I'm no help to you in that regard. I'm sorry.
Patty Jenkins.
Okay.
Patty Jenkins will likely be there, because more than likely they're going to talk Rogue Squadron, because she's making a Rogue Squadron film.
Okay.
And I think that's it's been pushed, because it was supposed to be this year that it came out, but I think it's going to come out either next year or the year after, because some of our other projects have been shuffled about. So that's it for Celebration news.
All right.
We also got some book news regarding Legends. So you remember last time I brought a book in that was Legends. I brought that Rogue Squadron book in, and it was had that new cover, the Essential Legends collection cover.
Yeah.
So they've been doing books like that in waves. So they've got the entire Thrawn trilogy out. The entire Bane trilogy is coming out soon, because they're currently on wave 3. I think the second X-Wing book just came out. And then they've done some of the standalone books like Shatterpoint. They're doing Kenobi, Darth Plagueis. But as far as announcements go, they've announced Wave 5.
Oh.
And Wave 5 is looking pretty good. They got Deceived, the Old Republic Deceived novel, and the Old Republic Revan novel, which I know one person who's probably really happy to hear that.
It's you.
I mean, I'm happy to hear it, but I mean, like, besides me, I know people that enjoy the Revan novel and Deceived, and so another pretty cover. They haven't shown the art yet because it's pretty far out.
Yeah.
I think Wave 5 isn't until September.
Oh boy. So yeah.
So they've got time before they have to show us the art. I do like the art that they've done for the Essential Legends collections. Although I like my previous reprint of the Thrawn trilogy a little bit better, only because when you put the Thrawn trilogy side by side on a bookshelf, it has like a shared art on the spine.
Yeah.
So that I like that. The Essential Collection doesn't do that. So.
All right.
But I mean the art's still pretty, so I'm not gonna
complain about it.
Yeah. It's the only reason I haven't gone out of my way to get the new Thrawn covers yet. So that's book news. Well, kind of. We also have we got a preview of the Obi-Wan Kenobi comic that's coming out.
Yeah.
Thanks to Sci-Fi. As with most comic book sneak peeks, they don't have any of the speech bubbles or anything. It's just the art. The art looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell from what is going on,
It looks like it's either just before Obi-Wan becomes a Jedi, or while he's still a youngling.
yeah.
It's probably a youngling, because he's been in the Jedi his whole life. But it looks like he's on the streets of Coruscant dealing with some thugs, and it looks like there's a fellow Jedi there.
Yep.
Jedi youngling. My guess is a character from the Jedi Apprentice novels that is being brought into canon.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember her name. No, not her. His Jedi love interest from the Jedi Apprentice books. I typed in Jedi Apprentice Obi-Wan love interest and Satine popped up. No. Because in the Jedi... So, this is Legends, but in the Jedi Apprentice novels, there was a fellow Jedi that he loved. Or liked, at least. Yeah, Siri Tashi. Siri is one of my... And she was Adi Gallia's apprentice.
Okay.
Yeah. And so... Maybe this is a canon representation of Siri.
Maybe.
I like her. I would like to see a canon representation. She's a good character, at least in... I know she is canon, but, we haven't, seen her. Because she's mentioned in The Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view book. Obi-Wan briefly mentions her. So... I would like her to appear. She's one of my favorite characters from the Jedi Apprentice novels. Her and the Qui-Gon's love interest, because Qui-Gon also had one, and she was a blind Jedi. So I love the Jedi Apprentice novels. They were kind of my introduction to the book side of Star Wars.
I see.
Because I got them at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Oh yeah.
I got that along with those sticker books that I told you about a few episodes ago.
Oh, man.
But it was the middle of the series, so it was I think it's book 16. It's called The Ties That Bind. And so, it was the middle of the series, but that was fine. I didn't care. I was oh, it's Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, because at this point I was all about the Star Wars Episode 1 hype.
Yeah.
Because, 1, that was my first movie, and 2, it inspired me to do stuff like this, as well as, make my own work.
Oh, man.
But yeah. So, the preview looks good. I'm excited. We're going to get to read it at some point as part of the show.
All right.
And last but not least, Ahsoka has at least a director announced.
Well, that's good.
Because they haven't, as far as I know, they haven't started filming yet.
Wonder what she'll be doing in that show.
Probably looking for Thrawn. Well, you haven't seen Mando, so I can't say considering what happened in Mando. But yeah, she's probably looking for Thrawn.
I don't... That is a weird thing where I know a little bit about certain characters, so I'm they probably didn't die.
Yeah. Because Thrawn and Ezra, disappeared into the unknown regions.
That guy doesn't strike me as someone who would die easily.
Yeah. But they got Peter Ramsey, who's known for directing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film.
Oh, okay.
Rise of the Guardians, so the Easter Bunny and Jack Frost movie. And Santa. And then he did a short for Monsters vs. Aliens, because he worked for DreamWorks for a good bit. He was in the art department, and he has done a lot in the art department. a lot of storyboard artistry. Worked on A Wrinkle in Time, which I thought the remake wasn't that bad. Sausage Party, Penguins of Madagascar, Shark Tale. So you start to see the DreamWorks Shark Tale, Shrek the Halls. He mostly worked for the parent company, I guess, for DreamWorks, because he also did AI, Artificial Intelligence, which was made by the parent company. He worked on Castaway as a storyboard artist, Minority Report, Independence Day. So he's been in the industry.
Yeah.
So like, I trust him, but there was an interesting discussion, well, a sentence that was brought up, which is, oh boy, another male director who is directing female characters and knows nothing about what they're doing. In regards to that, because we've seen the failings of that so far in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we need to talk about Book of Boba Fett and how, like,
go on.
Fennec Shan, like, great character, but they don't really use her to her potential, and they don't really know how to write her.
Mm. I want to make sure I get this right.
Fennec Shan is Ming-Na Wen's character.
The assassin lady who assassinates people.
Yeah. But you can make more than that.
Yeah, you can.
Ming-Na Wen basically became the new Boba Fett. Cool character in the background.
Yeah. But unlike Boba Fett, she actually fucking advised him on steps
I'll give you that.
Properly do.
I'll give you that.
And that's not how he wanted to do things.
Yeah.
She's like, here's the thing, you're an idiot for not doing this.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it because he's a good director, but I would love to see, like, other talent, whoever else they're bringing in to the show. Because obviously this is just one director.
Yeah.
And obviously he's not the showrunner. Because the showrunner is probably going to be Dave Filoni, because Ahsoka is his baby.
Yeah.
That. Let's face facts.
Yep. I'm not going to deny that.
Face the facts, Dave Filoni will not let somebody else touch Ahsoka as a character. The exception being E.K. Johnston for the novel. But that was because the story had already been pretty much written, and E.K. Johnston, did a really good job of retelling that story in a novel form.
I think that there is... I don't know. I think that you're allowed more freedom to do things with characters in books than you are in movies.
Yeah, that is true. Alright, so speaking of books, I guess, do we want to get into our review?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, we're out of Star Wars news, so we don't really have a choice.
Yeah. Alright, major players.
So we got Keeve Trennis, who is a Jedi apprentice at the start, to Master Skier, who we've met in Light of the Jedi. He is the second in command, essentially, well, of the Jedi side of Starlight Beacon, with like Astala Maru being almost on the same level. Which we get to see Astala Maru.
Yeah.
So you get to visually see him.
There were a lot of things that I did like and did not like. Some things that I have questions about as well.
And then we get the twins, Sarah and...
I don't like them. They're creepy and they freak me the fuck out. That's the first one. I'm gonna kick the bucket over with that.
You're starting a war with the internet, buddy.
They're not bad people. I don't like creepy twins in fiction. That's it.
You Sarah and Tarek out of this. Look, they are very lovely individuals, except not that they have kind of a hive mind thing going. But
yeah, I don't like that.
It's just the way their race works.
I know it's not fair to judge them on that, but I'm going to.
Outside of that, we also got Avar Kriss. She's very focal in this.
Yep.
So like, if you were missing Avar Kriss in the novels, this is where we get our Avar Kriss.
Where? Because that's a name I hear a lot, and I'm like, okay. All I remember is you got in trouble because you left Starlight Beacon.
Well, also she was like one of the leads in Light of the Jedi, and then
that, and you're actually very talented, pretty unique Force ability there.
And she sees the Force through song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the things I know about her.
Well, now you're gonna get to see.
Also, she may or may not have feelings for Elzar. Pretty sure she does.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. There was a heated discussion. Not heated. There was a discussion between whether or not Elzar, Avar, and Stellan are a throuple.
Well, they're not anymore. Let's rip that Band-Aid off.
I don't think they ever were though, because Into the Fallen Star makes it clear that Stellan was kind of always felt like the third wheel.
Yeah, I think Stellan was the one of them. Out of the three of them during group assignments, Stellan was always fucking busy, for lack of a better term.
I mean, they were close friends. Don't get me wrong, and that's something that he comes to realize before the end of the book. But
I don't think there was any romantic
things
between Stellan and the others.
Maybe Stellan and Elzar. It could be read that way.
It can be. I don't think it is.
I don't know. Elzar throws off bisexual energy.
I don't know. Maybe things should.
Did I show you the time he met Luke?
No. You didn't. You told me about it.
Oh, I didn't show you the panel?
You didn't show me the panel.
Oh, there's some bisexual energy.
Oh. Oh boy.
But yeah. But then again, Elzar flirts with anything.
Yeah.
But he's smooth, so it's okay. Whereas...
But he's smooth, so it's okay.
But Wreath, on the other hand, tries to flirt with everything and it goes wrong.
No, I think Wreath
just misreads emotions.
Misreads, and also is still like a teenager.
I think he's 18 by the end of
it.
Yeah, because I think he started 16 and then 2 years pass, so he's 18 when he's knighted.
But then again, his romantic affairs or lack thereof have not been great.
And he likes anybody and everybody that he runs into. Yeah. Vernestra, which you haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen that yet. They do make an appearance in this.
Yeah, Vernestra and Emery make an appearance in this comic. So I guess let's kind of go through the story. So this is your spoiler warning.
Yep. Spoilers, you know the rules. If you don't like it, come back in 15 minutes.
No,
give or take. 15 minutes.
Give or take.
Yeah.
You know the rules, but so do I. So let's go. Yeah.
So
starting off, Keeve is on. I forget the name of the planet, but she's on a training world.
Yeah.
Where basically Skier's toying with her. They have a little bit of lightsaber combat, and Keeve meets one of the locals who annoys her.
Yep.
It's not quite Jar Jar Binks level of annoyance yet.
It's almost there though.
And this is coming from somebody who actually likes Jar Jar.
I don't mind Jar Jar. I don't think it was bad.
No.
I don't think it was great.
But as a kid,
it was bad.
as a kid, I was entertained, which is the point.
I was like, "That's cool. That's a new species."
And then, So basically they have a little fight, and then at the end of it, Skier's like, "All right, do you know why I brought you here?" And she's like, "I thought this was just for lightsaber training. I'd rather, be getting ready for my trials." And he's like, "Well, that's why we're here. You're doing your trials now."
Yep. Now she's like, "Shouldn't I have had time to prepare?" No, you're doing it now. Which is the best.
It's also fair because you're not always going to be able to prepare for what's coming up.
Yep. And so he takes her to this
to basically these really tall stalagmite type. Forget which one is when it's in the ground.
Which one is up and which one is down.
Yeah, I think stalactite because G for ground. Oh no, stalagmite.
Fuck.
Either one.
Spikes.
We'll
call them spikes.
Spikes coming from the ground.
And Skier's like, "All right,
there's a medallion up there.
Go get it." And she's like, "And a bunch of people died doing this," and he says, "No,
but they just didn't succeed."
And she's like, "Don't you only have one arm? How do you get up there?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it."
You know what? Skier probably just flew over it, dropped it, and then landed.
I don't know how much the Battle of Kerr is where he gets his arm cut off.
Yes. So
Here is my
like all of Light of the Jedi has already occurred.
yes.
Well, except for the ceremony for the opening of Starlight
'Cause
Beacon.
they have a few hours before that happens.
Yeah.
Here is my question: how long does it take for Trandoshans to grow back their arm?
I think it's an age thing.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh no, that's not correct. That's Legends. Sorry. Because I forgot that Legends cut off when they can regrow limbs to 54. But in new canon, they can grow it as long as they exist.
Okay.
Don't have a length of time yet.
All right. I feel like this is something.
It's probably something that's going to be like a couple months.
Yeah. And depending on how long that is, I was thinking about this. I was like, I know that Trandoshans can grow back their limbs. I don't know how long it takes, though.
Yeah.
So I remember Battle of Kerr, the Nihil release. Not only does it get cut off by a fucking spaceship,
He also has to deal with the gas, too.
he also has to deal with the fucking nuclear waste they use. I was like, that seems like something that would really fuck up your arm growing back.
Yeah.
And hurt a lot of other things, but
We'll get there.
that. And so, Keeve, and her annoying friend, who has now found another annoying friend.
Yeah. Bug her as she's climbing. And they're like, hey, we can see our house from here. Look, there's our city.
She's like, I'm just trying to get this fucking medallion.
So, as they say that, though, this swarm of creatures come breaking through, and they knock the tower that she's climbing off.
Yeah.
And she manages to catch herself, but then she's like, oh, crap, they're heading towards the city.
Yeah. And these bug people that are irritating are like an endangered species or something.
Yeah, she finds out after calling Estella Maru. She's like, hey, something's going on. Where did these things come from? And he's like,
bless you.
Excuse me. Excuse me. You go ahead and...
Yeah. So he's like, well, they only migrate every, like... Sorry, not the people people whose city is endangered.
You're on the right track, the creatures.
But the creatures only come through, like, every 100 years, and they follow, like, a very specific frequency, I believe. And so as they're going about that, they're realizing, oh, I know why they're coming this way. It's because the same frequency that they follow is incredibly similar to the one Starlight Beacon puts out.
Yeah, because they put out a frequency that is specifically to, let everybody know, hey, the Jedi are here.
Yeah. Way to go, Republic. You almost got people killed again. But you know what? This one, I think, is no one's real fault. I think it's just a byproduct of the generators.
Yeah, and so Estella manages to rewire the system so that way the frequency that they're sending it out on is a different frequency. Keeve,
Fortunately, this works.
Yeah, well, it also helps that Keeve started sending off the same frequency from her ship.
Yep.
And basically was leading them up a path, and they followed her and followed her ship into space. She jumped out.
It seems Keeve and Vernestra are gonna have a very similar problem
with ships. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Keeve's like, what happened to the ship?
It's just like, I had to use it to save the city.
So it ends with her thinking she's in trouble.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm so dead.
Because she thinks that, one, she failed her trial.
Yeah.
Because she didn't do her trial.
Yeah.
But she's like, trying to explain, she's like, but I had to save people because saving people is the right thing to do, and that's what we do as Jedi, so, and I can imagine that speed of her trying to explain this.
And I'm like, oh, I know what one of your character traits is. You are jumping so many guns here, Keeve. Just slow down for a minute.
And so Avar shows up and she's like, "Oh man, now I'm really in trouble."
And Skier's over here not saying anything. Like, all right, that's good enough.
Other than to tell her not to curse because she curses a lot.
Yeah. I thought that was an internal dialogue.
Oh yeah, that one was internal. Sorry,
Yeah.
but on Planet he got onto her for it because he was like, "If you're gonna be a knight, you got to stop cursing."
And so they get back to Starlight Beacon, and this is something that you were a little bit upset about.
Yeah, so she does get knighted because they consider her saving the city. I guess her trial.
Yeah.
Avar knights her.
Yeah. This is I remember you ending like just that singular line of text and being
You should have knighted her.
and I'm like, okay. And then I looked at the situation and I'm like, well, I understand.
Because usually the master knights their Padawan.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, my issue with it, and this is also the part of me that understands...
Which there's some exceptions.
Pragmatism. I'm like, Starlight Beacon's opening in like fucking 7 hours, man.
I mean, but it also...
It's not like a formal night ceremony or anything.
No.
She does it in the hallway,
Yeah,
man.
it's in the hallway.
It's not like...
So maybe she got a formal one later.
Yeah.
But like...
But for right now, it's just...
And
all right, you're good.
And by later, I mean it'd have to be off screen because a lot has happened since that.
Yep.
So then they go to the opening ceremony, and
nothing goes wrong.
Where Keeve is kind of like, "Oh boy, I'm a knight now. Oh crap, I'm a knight now."
Yeah. Oh, the realization sets in real quick.
So responsibilities and duties.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. And immediately we jump to where First Duty ended in issue 2, because First Duty ended with that problem in that system, and this is that problem.
Yep.
So they find a ship, and so this is her first mission as a knight.
Yeah.
She's with her former master Skier. She's got Sarah and Tarek, who are meeting for the first time.
Yep. I've made I'm cool with their design. I'm cool with everything else. I'm cool with them being Jedi. I think that's nice. I don't like that they talk and finish each other's sentences. That weirds me out. Other than that,
I mean,
fine.
In a way, it's similar to being a dyad.
Yeah, I suppose so. However, if I ever see... I don't know how much horror media you consume, Caleb.
But this isn't... hold on. I saw myself, because I was going to say this isn't a horror story, but then I remember...
it is.
Then I remember the creatures that are in this.
But
Sarah and Tarek are not the threat.
No, they're not.
They are very wonderful non-binary individuals that we love very much.
Yeah, they're okay. I think they're a little creepy.
I agree that their design is creepy, but
I don't think they're evil or bad. They're just creepy looking, and they do creepy things.
But they're great characters.
They're good people.
Yeah. At least they don't make the mistakes that Skier does in this issue.
You're right. You're right. He does make some mistakes.
So they find the ship, and they manage to find out. Oh, it's a harvesting shipment specifically for Bacta, which is new at this time in the galaxy at this time.
We've seen what happens, or at least what I have done to people when there's no way to heal them.
And so they find a body.
Yeah,
not just anybody.
Anybody. It's a Hutt body
that has like a ton of holes in it.
Yeah. And they're going over, they're like, this guy's been shot, stabbed, and poisoned.
And like, we don't know anything in the galaxy that can do this to this level.
Yeah.
But since they have excuse me, they managed to go into the computer logs and find like where the shipment that's on the ship came from. And they're like, okay, so I guess we'll investigate here because that's our best chance of figuring out what's going on.
Yep.
Because why would a Hutt have all this Bacta shipment?
Yeah.
especially since they're in Republic space and not Hutt space,
which is strange.
which is a big no-no.
A dead Hutt in Republic space is not a good sign.
It's a no-no on many levels because of their treaty with the Hutts.
Yeah.
Because the Hutts are not allowed in Republic space, really. Or at least they're not allowed to operate. Like, they're not allowed to do their Hutt cartel shenanigans.
Yeah.
Which just smells of Hutt cartel shenanigans.
Yep.
And then the Republic isn't allowed to interfere in Hutt space.
Yeah. We like the
prequels, where we see that Tatooine is Hutt space, so therefore slavery is legal, and the Republic can't do anything about it.
Like, we've discussed it, it's like countries with different border laws.
Yeah.
Borders and different laws.
Yeah.
So,
and so they split up.
Yeah.
So, Tarek and Skier?
I think so.
Yes. Tarek and Skier go to the planet. Sarah
happens. The thing we were discussing earlier.
Oh, yeah. When they're searching the ship, they find out that the Nihil were the things that killed the Hutt.
Yeah.
And
there's only one
survivor. Because there's a lot of dead Nihil as well. And they figure out that, the Nihil used their gas, and that's how they did this. Skier finds that last Nihil. He's not a Nihil anymore.
No, he sure as hell isn't.
You could probably not even identify him as a being anymore. He's now in pieces.
I think the words shredded paper seem applicable.
Yeah, and Sarek comes upon him doing this, as does Keeve. And they're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're kind of like, god damn, dude. We know they're bad, but did you have to take it this far? And he was like, they didn't give me any choice.
On top of that, though, because of the gas, he was experiencing flashbacks of the Battle of Kerr.
Yeah.
Which is why he did it.
Fucked him up pretty good.
That PTSD, man. Yeah. It's real.
There was also a weird... I think there's a weird flash later.
Yeah, there's one later. It's when he's... We'll talk about it later, but it involves the creatures.
Yes.
And so, they report to Avar. Avar says, alright, send Skier and Tarek to the planet. Avar, Sarek, come back to me. Report in. And Keeve is like, I should go with him as well. And she's like, no, we need you here.
No, we need you here.
Later, they realize, Avar realizes the mistake of that because Keeve left out some vital information, such as the fact that Skier just murdered a man.
Yep. I guess. Cool.
You know, just leave that out. And so, things happen on that planet.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? While the local inhabitants of the planet are kind of like talking to Skier, and he's like, I'm just here to help, and they're like, please go.
Tarek, on the other hand, is like, I'm going to explore because I feel the dark side nearby.
Is my first issue. This is one of the things I'm like, so Jedi work in pairs, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Generally.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but generally.
I'm like, I've always wondered why they work in pairs, and this is the exact reason. You shouldn't wander off on your own. I'm like, you have no one to blame but yourself for this.
Well, thankfully, their connection to Sarek, helps them, get saved because eventually, because Sarek's like, I feel the darkness that my brother is dealing sibling is dealing with.
You wandered off on your own, man.
And
I'm like, it's good that you want to investigate.
At the same time,
wait for the diplomacy checks to finish up.
Well, also at the same time, Skier should have been watching.
Yeah. Skier's also handling some very intense public relations at the moment.
Yeah, the town leader.
People that want to help, like the citizens, but the town leader's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's like,
we don't want you.
Citizens, go back inside. This isn't my thing. And they're like, but our children are missing.
They're missing.
He's like, we'll deal with that. So yeah, and eventually Avar finally learns what happened with Skier because Keeve tells him finally. And she's like, why didn't you say this earlier?
Immediately.
She's like, well, I didn't want to get him in trouble.
Like, it's my master. I didn't want my not dad to get in trouble.
And so they all go to the planet now.
And they're like, all right, fine. We'll have the doctor take a look at it.
Yeah.
And Renestra and Emery are also there.
Yeah, because so they did bring the Hutt body to Starlight Beacon
for an autopsy.
Yeah, which of course has Lena I think freaking out because they mentioned that she learned about that and she was like, why is there an autopsy going on Starlight Beacon?
And they're like, I think they say something along the lines of, "Don't worry, we're working on it."
Yeah, and so
which is
definitely what you should tell the Supreme Chancellor.
Yeah, tell the president. So why are you guys doing an autopsy? Don't worry, we're working on something.
Doesn't sound suspicious at all. But the doctor, Janole, is helped out by Vernestra and Emery. And
it's good.
And Salamaru, and then Stalamaru is up in the main bridge area, keeping an eye on everything.
I like his design. Now that I have a face to put to it.
Asala?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a really good character. I like him a lot. He's just... One, he has a good sense of humor, because we get a little bit of his sarcasm in the first issue where he's messing with Keeve.
It's like, they're like, so what frequency are you going? I don't know, Arcadian jazz?
Not Arcadian jizz?
Nope.
Because the music the music's jizz.
We know, we're gonna no-sell that one.
But it should be Arcadian jizz. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, you can die on that one. I'm joining you.
It should be Arcadian jizz.
Alright.
But no. Moving on. So yeah, so they get to
Farmville.
Yeah, they get to Farmville.
That's super disrespectful.
Where they meet up with Skier, and they're like, okay, Skier, stay on the ship, because...
I'm like, this is the first... To me, I'm like, this is the people are being a dick to Skier for no reason.
Yes and no. I mean, I understand, because you agree with what he did.
I'm like, okay, killing the Nihil in that fashion was extreme, but he is right. It did jump out of him. At him. It's the same... I'm like, it's not his fault in the sense of, oh fuck, there's a guy there coming to kill me. Better get rid of him.
Yeah.
So, that's understandable. Plus, he's also under the effects of the gas, so of course he fucking killed that guy.
Yeah.
Secondly, he's only got one arm. The odds are pretty heavily stacked against him. It's surprising he out at all.
No, the odds are still with him, because he's a Trandoshan.
Yeah, but he didn't fucking get his arm back.
No, but Trandoshans have, like, thick skin, so... No, that's actual.
No, I thought you...
Well, also, like, like, in the case of, like, Skier, he's also a trained fighter.
Yeah.
Like, there were ways he could have got out of that.
Oh, yeah? Where were they, Caleb?
Not killing the Nihil, for one.
Well, that guy's dead, so it doesn't matter.
He very easily could have incapacitated him. And in fact, I think he was incapacitated before Skier killed him.
I'm like, why? Oh, man.
Yeah. See, that's where Elzar's at least better. When he killed somebody, they weren't incapacitated already. But Elzar's worse because he also killed someone that was actually innocent.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, he found an enemy on a battlefield, and that enemy attacked. He was well within his parameters.
But once again, going back to as a Jedi.
Yeah, as a Jedi, who are now the Knights of the Republic, and are working closer.
They're not
closer together.
That separation between church and state still exists.
Yeah, fucking barely.
Just because they're working with the Republic doesn't mean they are a part of the Republic.
They're this close.
Because because of what happens at the end of this volume. That proves that
Oh yeah, that is something I disagree with.
it proves that the Jedi can go do things outside of the Republic's.
Yeah, that's one of the. I'm going to say this.
We'll get to it. We can talk about it when we get there.
It's not spoilery or anything.
No.
In regards to what I am about to say, I think a lot of the characters I have found interesting and enjoyable to watch and understandable. I think Skier is the first Jedi I've actually come to respect.
Yeah, Skier has a lot of really commendable qualities. He's loyal and all that. And he's a good master. But we've seen a lot of good master-apprentice relationships in the High Republic era.
Like, Comac, I understand.
Yeah, I disagree, but I disagree with his choice, but I understand it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dez. I disagree with his choice, but
Dez is one where I'm like, he walked through a door, man. That's not fair. He walked through a door and got tortured and drugged for a month.
You can't blame anything bad that you might have done during that time on yourself. But I guess this is kind of his way of, in a way, getting healing, self-healing.
With the exception of Porter Angle.
What do you mean?
In terms of characters I respect.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was about to say, we respect Porter Angle in this house.
Don't want any confusion there. And there are characters I want to see grow, and maybe then I will have a modicum of respect for them.
Obviously in the terms of, the Padawan / just becoming knights, and the young masters, Vernestra, those are characters that we're going to see grow and see who they become.
I don't respect Vernestra at the moment.
I think she's trying to do better.
She's getting there.
She's trying to do better because she started at 18.
Yeah.
She was just 18 in the first book. Right? No, she was
younger.
Oh, yeah, she was the same age. She was 15 or 16. Yeah. She's 16 because she was the same age as Wreath.
Yeah.
So she's just now 18. She's still learning.
Yeah. So I'm
she's still literally a child.
Yeah.
Same thing with Emery. Obviously, Emery is a child.
Yeah.
And then Wreath is getting there. He's starting to mature.
Yeah. Wreath ends up in a lot of bad situations just because it's his job.
Yeah, but he's starting to mature.
Yeah.
Who else? I can't think of his name now. Loden's apprentice.
Is it
Buryaga's buddy?
Bell.
Bell is really out of the younger characters, which he's 21 by the end.
Okay.
I think he's 20. He's 20 by the end of. Yeah, and he's still not been knighted.
Yeah.
He's 20 by the end of this. By the end of where we've gotten so far, and you can see it. He's really mature. He knows.
Yeah.
He's had his weak spot. His weak spot was once again attachment, which seems to be a key lesson.
Well, the funny thing is, the galaxy keeps taking those attachments away from him.
Kind of forcing him to have to learn the lesson.
It's not one of those things. I feel like it's one of those things where it's if you put... it's not apathy.
Yeah.
It's sort of the understanding that eventually you can come into, that people will sometimes just leave.
Yeah, in the case of apathy, that was Ram's lesson.
Yeah.
Which Ram is a character that still has a lot to grow with. Yeah. He's a good character, he just still has a lot to learn before he's at full growth, in my opinion. Man, we really went on a Padawans and Knight tangent. Which Keeve's lesson is a little harder to figure out. I haven't figured out what Keeve is supposed to learn.
I think Keeve needs to figure out when to speak and when not to.
You know what? That kind of fits with stuff that's in Volume 3 that I'm not gonna give away. Since I've read the entire series already for the comic, that fits. That fits.
Sort of to like quit jumping to conclusions ahead of time. Because so far that's what
I'm curious to see Keeve's journey, only because this is written. Did Kevin Scott write? No, who wrote this? Yeah, Kevin Scott wrote this. So written by Kevin Scott, who also did the Dooku Jedi Lost book, audio drama rather, which we'll get to when we get to prequel era. But they mentioned the Lost 20, which are a bunch of Jedi that have either left or turned to the. Generally, they've left.
Yeah.
And so they have little memorials, like little statues of their head to go, hey, this is a Jedi who left. Let this be a lesson of like how to better yourself as a Jedi.
Yeah.
And there's a Jedi named Trennis.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I'm curious if Keeve is going to be that Trennis. Because her journey isn't quite fitting on a. I don't see Keeve leaving the Jedi Order currently.
Not at the moment from the story.
But also the Trennis in that book is a master. Because the Lost 20 are all masters.
I see.
If I remember correctly.
They're all made masters post-mortem.
So like...
That would be fucked up.
But yeah, so they go... So, while Avar... Back to the story. Avar is trying to fix relations with the leader, the town leader. It's not going well.
No.
Meanwhile, Keeve has pulled a Tarek.
Yep, and gone off on her own.
But she finds a kid.
Yeah.
Who's like, hey, I know where my other friends are. Come on, let's go.
Yep.
And they find him.
Meanwhile, Skier and Sarah are kind of like arguing on the ship.
Yeah, they're going at each other.
How could you lose my brother? It wasn't my fucking fault. Like,
and then Sarah gets mad at him because he throws the dead Nihil at him as well.
Yeah.
To get to Skier. He's like, well, at least I didn't murder,
You know, a bit of advice. Maybe don't piss off the guy who...
Yeah, don't make a Trandoshan angry.
Yeah. Just some advice. It's up there with don't piss off Wookiees.
Yeah. I'd say Wookiees is higher because we've seen what happens. We've seen what happens. Chrysanthemum showed us when it comes down to a Wookiee or Trandoshan.
You may want to keep a flamethrower nearby.
And so,
Keeve
is led by this child to a giant hole.
Yeah. They're like,
all right, time to jump in. Yep. And Keeve's like, what? No.
No, don't.
And the kid jumps.
The kid is like, this seems fun. Woo.
And Keeve's like, well, now I gotta save him. So Keeve manages to catch him.
Yep.
And manages to make the fall safe for both of them. And the kid's like, see, I knew you'd save me. And it's like,
that doesn't... But what if I didn't?
Also, what if the hole was deeper? We didn't know how far it went.
Yeah. This kid is like, it worked out for the best, so it's fine.
I feel like this kid would be you.
Okay.
I feel like you would be in the Star Wars universe, you would be this kid jumping down through holes, making Jedi follow you and save you.
No. However, as a child, I did have a bad habit of just trespassing. Not a joke.
This kid
at the same time.
To be fair, this kid is trespassing.
Not really. We don't know whose property this is.
Well, we do as the reader.
Yeah. But
it's
in world,
it's I guess we can reveal it now. It's the Dringier's property.
Yeah.
Which, they explained earlier that the crops were dying.
Yeah, they're like, it's real weird.
Like, the crops should be fine, but they've just been dying a lot. It turns out that's because, it's infested by dark side energy because of the Dringier.
Yeah. The weirdest part to me... I'm gonna be real. I fucking forgot about the Dringier. Because of the goddamn Nihil problem.
I mean, to be fair, we've only had one book with them as a major issue. So
Yeah, I forgot about them.
yeah, they're still out and about. Yeah,
It was a case of like, I'm sorry, I've been dealing with terrorism. What is this magic plant bullshit?
yeah.
Why is fucking
Which they
Swamp Thing coming in to fucking chew up Kmart? Not Kmart. Walgreens,
Yeah.
the pharmacy section of Walgreens.
But yeah, so they basically go deeper into the cave where they figure out that yes, the Drinker are involved, and also that's where the kid that was missing, the Rodian kid who was missing, is at, along with Tarek.
Yep. The Rodian kid is unfortunately fucking gone.
Yeah, which makes the other kid cry.
Yeah, it's
Which is
actually
fair.
really sad.
Which is fair. Yeah, that's a sad moment. And Keeve is like, "Here, I'll let you hold my lightsaber," and
like, really?
because she's like trying to be a good like Jedi and be like, "Hey, it's okay to feel this emotion, let it out," because everybody misunderstands emotions when it comes to Jedi.
Yeah, you're allowed to have them.
It's a matter of just don't hold on to them beyond what you need to. Like, you can have them and you can let them out, just don't let them control you, and don't hold on to them longer than their time.
Yeah.
Because all feelings have a time. You cry when somebody you care about dies, but you don't hold on to that for. You're not supposed to hold on to that for like years and years.
Yeah,
And that's where and that's really more the lesson. It's the same lesson Anakin's failing to learn over and over again. It's why it's not the lesson of attachment. It's the lesson of
however,
ownership, of like complete ownership
is bad.
is bad. Like he considers his relationship with people as something that he is owed and something that he owns. And so therefore, if they die, that's on me. And also, like,
I think the lesson for Anakin might have been easier to learn if fucking visions were not being sent to him.
yes, but I think also he had to be. I think Yoda tried to tell him, hey, I don't think the way Yoda went about it was the best. But I think the lesson that Yoda tries to stick is correct.
It's
It's
the right lesson, but the wrong wording.
yes. Right lesson, wrong delivery. I wouldn't even say the wrong wording. It's just the delivery.
Yeah.
But that's because Anakin left out key details. Anakin didn't say, "This is my wife that I'm worried about." If he did, then that would be Yoda would have probably said it a way different. Like the application of that lesson would have been told differently.
Would have been easier.
But because Anakin misinformed Yoda, Yoda only went off the information he knew and was like, "Look, people you care about are gonna die.
Yeah.
You gotta rejoice that they are one with the Force. You can be sad that they're dead, but you gotta let that go." Which we know that Anakin never let his mother's death go. I mean, it's why the manipulation of Padme's death was so much easier for Palpatine to use, because Anakin was still holding on to Shmi's death. And therefore, Palpatine was like, "Oh, you hold on to death a lot. Cool. So you're gonna have visions of Padme's death? Perfect. I'm just gonna feed into that fear."
It's learning to understand and accept the passing of family members. I'm gonna say,
And I'd say it's a real lesson.
It is. I'm gonna say something weird. In that, I already said it was gonna sound weird.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
So during high school, I had 3 of my grandparents die, like one
almost
per
right
year.
Oh.
So 4 if we're counting like great aunts and such. It is a hard lesson to learn, but a very valuable one.
Yeah, because that sadness can turn into anger real quick.
Yeah. And I'm a fucking teenager, I'm already angry.
Yeah.
And eventually you come to understand that while yes, these people are gone, being angry all the time isn't going to help bring them back. So process it, get it out, move on.
Yep. Yeah, it quickly becomes bitterness and then anger.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Yeah,
back to our story about
after that moment.
space wizards and
I can't tell if it's my allergies that are making me cry or that.
and space wizards.
Yeah. So we're really. Oh yeah, Keeve finds dead kid.
Yeah.
But finds alive Tarek. And
I'm surprised he was alive, considering the state that his brother's in, who is not
doing well.
He's almost like fucking dead.
Yeah. And so Tarek has been possessed by the Drinker, similar to what happened to Dez.
Yeah.
Because the Drinker feed on people like through the Force, and then
I think they also literally just fucking eat them.
Yeah, that's probably true as well. That kid probably was a snack for later. If he hadn't been saved. Thankfully, though, thanks to the connection between Tarek and Sot, Skier realizes, oh, crap, also, the town leader gets angry at them because he's like, hey, you have a Jedi missing on my property. Where'd they go?
Oh, shit.
So they figure out where they are.
Yeah.
And Avar comes in to save the day in the most epic fashion.
I'm like, oh, thank God. You're not just some weird Force telephone. No, you're actually good at your job. Because this is the first time I've seen her do anything, not necessarily
physical. It's the first time physical, yeah.
Like, she's very useful to begin with, but it's different to actually see her in action.
Yeah. And so they almost save the day.
They almost do.
Until Skier comes in, and he's like, hey, I now have a Drengear arm, and I made a deal with them. So, betrayal.
He's like, yeah, I'm a bad guy now. In almost that exact tone of voice, where it's a very obvious, like, no, he's not. But fortunately, the Dringear are mostly just cannibalistic plant people.
So they're like, yeah, totally, he's evil.
Believe that shit.
And so Skier does eventually turn on them after saving them.
He's like, yeah, I just need to trick them long enough to learn out what they're weak to.
Yeah, because basically, we already know this about the Dringear, but they have a hive mind.
Yeah.
And so Skier basically, because of his deal with the Dringear and getting a Dringear arm, he's part of the hive mind now. Mm-hmm. And now is like, oh, I know how to defeat them. Perfect.
Yep. Still struggling against that hive mind because that shit's strong.
So, unfortunately, while they do manage to bring the kids up to the surface, but unfortunately the Dringear are following.
Yep.
And so they try to get backup from Starlight Beacon.
Starlight Beacon has a problem.
Turns out, inside...
How many of you have seen the film Predator?
Actually, I'd say more like this is Alien.
Yeah, Alien. Sorry, not Predator. Those are...
Yeah. You know the Xenomorph, and you know...
Yeah. They did that to a hut?
Yeah! Thankfully, they were already in a quarantine zone.
Yeah.
So...
Cannoli being fucking... I think it's Maru, actually, because he's a smartass, and he's like... Well, I guess our quarantine measures are actually about to be tested.
Yeah, it's Maru. And Janoli's like, yeah, I guess so. And so Vern, Emery, and Janoli have to deal with this and have to fight this creature. And so, like, Avar calls them for help, and Nestal is like, we kind of got our own Dringear problem.
Yeah. And, one of my favorite fucking things ever to happen... Because it's funny. So Skier is sort of off to the side, duking it out with Keeve.
Yeah.
And she cuts off the Dringear like arm, and the hive mind is still there, and they kind of go, "What did you think cutting off the arm was actually going to do anything?" And she's like, "I was hoping it would." And I'm like,
"Yeah, it's not The Walking Dead. Sorry."
And I'm like, that's actually really funny, because anytime you cut the Dringear in half, you just get two more of them.
And so, so they have to deal with that. On top of that, the Hutts show up.
Yeah.
Because it turns out, yeah, the leader guy of this village has been paying off the Hutts.
See, here's the thing. I don't think... What I think the original deal was is that in exchange for giving them a little bit of the key ingredient...
Of the crops, yeah.
Of the crop, everybody would get paid. But the town leader is an asshole.
Well, no, the Hutts are being paid. Through the crop.
Yeah, they're being paid through the crop
But it's,
and giving them credits.
Well, no, they're just getting protection. It's a protection racket.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to see it.
They literally say it in the comic.
I know.
It's a protection
I
racket.
forgot about that. I thought
it's the Godfather.
It does not work the way I thought it worked.
No, it's the Godfather.
The way I thought it worked was he was taking the money from the Hutts anyway, that he was supposed to like distribute out evenly.
Mm-mm.
But no, I guess if it's that way, then it's
yeah. It's the Godfather. It's protection racket.
All right.
Yeah, they're taking a percentage of the crops in order for the Hutts to protect them. Which so far the Hutts have not needed to protect them.
Yeah. They're here now.
Yeah.
Jedi are here.
Jedi are here, and so are the Dringir. Although the Hutts see the Jedi as the bigger problem.
Yeah. Actually, they see them as the bigger problem because I'm like, this is where you fucked up, Skier. Because he's like, you know what?
Yeah, Skier gets
Fuck
mad.
This protection racket.
Yeah, Skier attacks the lead Hutt with his Dringir arm.
Yeah.
And holds them hostage.
And they're like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah. And then Keeve is like, hey, you gotta let go of them because we need their help to deal with the Dringir. Because the Dringir are the bigger issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Skier's like, well, I'm having trouble controlling this.
Yeah.
And Keeve's like, well, that's why we work together, because Jedi help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And cuts off the Dringir arm again.
Yep.
Which releases the Hutt.
Yeah.
The Hutt still is mad, so a little bit more fighting happens before Avar finally is like, look, enough, we need to work together. And so,
do you not understand how much of a fucking problem these things are gonna be?
So after some aggressive negotiations, to say the least, they managed to create a treaty with the Hutts.
Yeah.
Specifically to stop the Dringir.
Yep.
Which is where High Republic Adventures happens, because we see the formation of that treaty even further, because we remember Farzala.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they go there to have a little chat.
Yeah, Farzala has that meeting where Jabba tries to fuck it up.
Jabba's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's like, Jabba's like, let's start a war with the Jedi, even though we got a Dringir problem on our home world.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, and that's where Volume 1 essentially leaves off. They managed to defeat the Dringir on Starlight Beacon.
So...
Kind
of. And the way that they do it is essentially Skier's like, they won't eat meat they think is rotten.
Yep. Yeah, because that's one of their weaknesses, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, alright, this is a ballsy move, but it's our best shot. Since Skier is connected to the hive mind, and
Keeve can connect to Skier. Keeve's like, all right, let's do a force mind thing where I can also see what's going on, and we can find the central hive mind. Essentially, they find the queen. Basically, they find the Queen Dringir.
Yeah, and convince, essentially that all of the people they're fighting and getting into are bad meat.
Yep.
And Keeve is like, isn't that like super dangerous? And Skier's like, fucking do it.
Yeah. I mean, if I die, I die.
Yeah.
Skier's ready to go.
Skier's like, man. Also, by the way, I haven't been able to feel the Force for a while.
Yeah, I've been cut off.
Yeah. Which I'm like...
Which Avar's like, yeah, I realized that when I couldn't hear your song.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay. And that's what I was thinking, like, why hasn't his arm grown back? Why isn't things X, Y, and Z? I'm like, Might be because of all that fucking nuclear waste.
There's that, and then there's something that they haven't talked about yet. It's in
And there
volume
was
2.
also a very weird panel where it looked like Skier was dealing with another Trandoshan who was not happy.
So they're gonna get into some of the stuff. Basically, at a certain age, Trandoshans, to put it in not the best terms, they go feral almost, and Skier is hitting that age.
Ah, I see.
Yeah,
He's getting up there in years.
and they go more into it in volume 2 and 3, but yeah, like the Skier's slowly becoming less in control of himself, which is bad as a Jedi.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
Is he going... So Trandoshans go senile when they're older?
Essentially.
Well,
And lizard brain takes over.
That
Which
sucks.
yeah.
I'm like, that's not fair to him either.
No.
God damn.
And nobody is and when they learn about that, nobody's mad at him for that. They're like, "Okay, that makes sense. But you can't be a Jedi any longer."
Yeah, he's like, I feel like he would probably be like, yeah, you guys are right, I have to leave now.
Yeah.
Because although that chick works on the Drengir where they convince them, like, oh, all the mutes run, it's framed as like, oh, the effort fucking nearly killed Skier, and I'm like, he's not dead.
Yep.
Because I fucking refuse to believe that.
Well, he lives this volume, so he's alive.
I was like, he probably just passed out from the effort or something.
So that's volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for more of this comic?
I am. And I will live with Saren and Tarek. I can overlook it.
You'll get to
Not bad.
You'll get to know them better.
They actually do have some pretty good teamwork against that Rancor.
Yes. When they put it to
sick.
sleep, they were just like,
Yeah.
sleep.
The Rancor was fucking them up.
They basically pulled Grogu from Book of Boba Fett. Except they didn't pass out because they're older.
Yeah.
Well, not older, but they have more, practice.
Townsfolk get that, the supposed town leader, they get him pretty good.
Yeah, town leader basically gets what he deserves, in my opinion.
He got what he deserved.
So yeah. 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I'll give it that. I'll agree with it.
Only because I don't give things 10 out of 10 usually.
Yeah.
Like, that's a special occasion.
Whereas the journey so far for me has been, like I've said, you've taken me from tragedy to tragedy, essentially.
This is kind of a mid-tragedy, like, there's some tragic elements, but it's not, like, as grand scale.
Yeah. This is the first time I think I felt... Whereas, like,
It's very grounded.
War of the Bounty Hunters was very much like... War of the Bounty Hunters is like the big, exciting business meeting that you're fucking scared for anything to go wrong.
Yep.
This is like, hell yeah, there's a party Friday night, and I'm going.
Yep.
I know it's a weird thing to say, considering the death of a child.
And the Drengir.
And the Drengir.
Yeah.
But it's a very different tone.
So I want to go back, because we mentioned it, and then we never came back to it, but the fact that the Jedi could just make a treaty with the Hutts.
Yeah.
That goes back to, there's definitely separation between church and state, because there's no way the Republic would make a deal. Not during this era. During the Clone Wars they make a deal, but not during this era.
No.
So the Jedi are like, look, we need them, so we're just going to make a treaty.
Yep, right here, right now.
Yep. And in fact, there is some lashback against Avar doing this.
Yeah.
You'll see that later.
Avar does a lot of stuff that people don't like.
Yeah, like putting Elzar Man into any position of leadership.
Or, running off to chase Lorna D.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they thought Lorna D was the eye.
They did. And
Lorna D did not help with that.
No, they didn't.
Lorna D was like, Lorna D never corrects anybody on that. You would think she would, but she never does.
No.
Like, because she hates Markion, so, like, You would think Lord D would be like, yeah, it's Mark.
Yeah, but at the same time...
But then nobody knows who that is.
Yeah, it's like... Okay. It's that scene with, in... I forget which, like, Justice League cartoon it is, but it's when Lex Luthor takes off the flag.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
who are you?
I don't know who this is.
I don't know who you are.
Because he's just a normal guy.
Yeah, because Barry Allen's not like... It's not like Clark Kent where he's got a big name, or Bruce Wayne, who's a millionaire.
It's like some guy off the street.
Yeah. Probably the same result if you ever figured out Hal Jordan. I mean, Hal Jordan's just some pilot.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know who this fucking guy is.
Yeah. Okay, so next week we are skipping. We are taking a break next week. But the week after, we come back with the book I know a lot of people in the fandom have been waiting for, Queen's Hope, which is the third book in the Queen trilogy by E.K. Johnston. I have been assured by people who have read it already, from people who've gotten their ARC copies, and they've told me that this is one of the few times where you can read this and no context is fine.
Okay.
Really, as long as you've seen episodes, like the movies, episode 2 and episode 3, you're good. Because really, the Queen trilogy, the first book is actually the middle book of the trilogy, which that one is after the events of Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
The second book is the first book in chronological order, and it's the events of before, leading up to the Phantom Menace, so it shows how she was elected queen, and she's just 14. But yeah, and then this one is after Attack of the Clones.
Alright.
So we're gonna get a little bit of post episode 2 content. I think the wedding is in this book. So we get to see Anakin and Padme's, like, the full ceremony, not just the bit we've seen in Attack of the Clones. So a lot to look forward in that, because we get the wedding and the... Honestly, books in general are starting to give some of the stuff that we've kind of been wanting to see the gaps of, because we're getting the wedding in this one. We're getting Brotherhood's going to show Anakin being knighted. And then... another book is coming out that's going to show Han and Leia's wedding, as well as their honeymoon. So, a lot to look forward to. But yeah, so 2 weeks from now we're going to do Queen's Hope, so that gives us time to read it. It's a short read, though. I think it's only a little over 100 pages, so pretty quick read. It's a young adult novel, so it's not meant to be meaty like some of the other... and then the week after that, we're going to do Lego Star Wars. So it's good that we kind of have that week break, because that gives us more time to play the game while reading this book, because Lego Star Wars is going to be a little bit more time consuming to do, which actually, after this episode ends, we're going to go to Twitch, and I'm going to get set to start playing it. I've been playing it already. But we're going to start a new save file.
Putting me on the spot.
I'm going to be busy doing stuff, but after I'm done, if you're still wanting to play more, I brought a second controller so I can hop in.
Multiplayer.
Yeah. Hop in for that co-op. But for the most part, I'll let you start on your own.
I remember one of the concerns being like, are we going to be able to do this co-op?
And we can do co-op.
Thank God.
No online co-op, though.
That's fine. Thank you, Lego, for knowing what to do with your multiplayer. Yeah, that's right. I just took a shot at everybody.
Yeah. Honestly, I think all games that have, like, stuff like this you should have the option for LAN co-op and online co-op. Split screen co-op, bring it back.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, which is youtube.com/escaperealityfilms, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you are watching on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94, be sure to follow and subscribe. Let's see. Oh yeah, if you want to get in on movie night, I gotta announce the winner.
Yeah, you do.
The winner for this week's movie night poll, which was Solo versus Venom Let There Be Carnage, the winner by a landslide is Solo, A Star Wars Story. Solo had 7 votes, Venom had 2, and Venom Let There Be Carnage had 3. Excuse me. So, we're going to watch Solo, and I'm going to, if you're in the Discord, we're going to try to figure out when to watch it. That's the big question now, is when. So, we're going to watch it sometime this week. Probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, one of those days. Thursday, Friday, or Saturday for the next, or probably Thursday or Friday. Because the next Saturday we'll be announcing the next winner. Which I can tell you right now, Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage will be on the next poll. I just need to figure out if another film will be on there. Probably not. I think I'll split the vote between those two, because I know there's some people who haven't seen the first Venom yet, and then there's people that have and want to see the new one. But I mean, if you're in the Discord, you can make suggestions. If there's a movie you haven't seen that you want to see. And so, with that in mind, join the Patreon if you want to become part of the Discord. The first tier gets you access to the Discord, where you can hang out with us, enjoy the movie nights, stuff like that. Second tier gets you access to our YouTube content a week before it's uploaded to YouTube. I do want to apologize now for YouTube content. I'm kind of taking a break, just a little bit. I mean, I do content every day on that channel.
If any of you dare complain about the lack of content, I strongly advise you to go and check out his previous work on that channel. He worked hard on it.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I guess is my announcement that I'm kind of burnt out a little bit. It's not that I don't enjoy making the content, I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy playing all those games that I play. And I don't edit those videos. A lot of them, no.
Stop and
yeah,
and go button. It was like,
yeah, I just hit the start recording and then the stop recording and then I upload it. But like, that still takes a lot, because there's a lot of video games that I'm playing right now. And,
it's the total like amount of actual film time, I think, is like 5 or 6 hours a day.
Yeah, for like, if I sit down and do a whole batch, which includes Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance,
yeah,
Battlefront gameplays, which currently we're playing EA's Battlefront 1,
yeah,
Demon Souls, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith, the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO, and then we also have the only thing that I actually edit currently, which is our tabletop Star Wars The Old Republic campaign. And then, what else? Oh, and then Star Wars X-Wing. So nine different
fucking games.
Eight games, and then original content from tabletop.
Yeah. I don't think anyone can ever say that you don't work hard.
And I mean, on top of that, I still really want. I'm working on getting my next book out. I want to do it this year, but I just haven't sat down and written it, which I know I'm not lazy for not doing it, but it feels like it sometimes.
No, you just listed off 9 games, and I have seen and sat down with you. I don't know how you do it, man.
And then on top of that, I'm working on getting the audiobook for Super Worlds.
Yeah.
That is getting done, so that I feel good on that. I'm trying to find an artist to do a comic book version of Super Worlds. I have not found an artist. I know how much I want to pay them. It's decent pay. Basically, they'd be getting $70 per page of the comic. Not per panel, per page, but that's still... That's $35 up front, $35 when it's done on each page. And most comics are 22 pages. And I've written the Super Worlds comic to be about that. And then after I get Super Worlds 3 done, I also well, if I get the comic going, then I can finally get the Super Universe RPG going.
Oh man.
Because the book is done.
Yeah.
I mean, we play tested it. I've made fixes based on those play tests because we've had like we've had 8 different versions of that game. Because remember, I would edit it as we played during the playtest, and I was like, okay, here's the new version.
God, I remember when essentially the sanity meter was broken as shit.
So then I fixed it. Like I took a night to fix that. And then so the only thing missing really, because I don't want to publish it without any artwork, and so I'm gonna, when I get the comic going, then I can basically use the assets from the comic as part of the art. The only thing I'd have to separately buy is I want some battle maps drawn for the game, for the pre-written adventures.
Yeah.
Because it would be nice to have some battle maps. And then of course original concept art for the pre-made characters.
Yeah.
So that'd be the only 2 things separately from the comics assets, as well as assets from the cover art for Super Worlds 2, because I've got assets from that I can use, as well as assets from the Coat Wars collection cover. But I mean, there's a lot I want to do. I want to bring D&D Adventures back. I just haven't sat down to write the rest of the season. I've got like the first 5 episodes written. I want to write the whole season first before actually planning a filming schedule. I know who's going to be in it, and I know people that are going to help me do the effects, but I just...
It's a lot.
And then on top of that, a day job that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pace
and those of y'all who know me know my complaints on that. I won't air that publicly because that feels wrong. Well, I feel lucky that I have a day job.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay enough to do what I want to do. And I get up really early for that job. Which I know you can relate to.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm burnt currently on YouTube.
So let the man rest.
Yeah.
The pace has been relentless so far, and
the fact I made it this far though, it's better than last year. Last year, I stopped content around March before I got burnt. So I made it to April.
That's an improvement.
Yeah.
But
maybe I should change to weekly content, but then I don't know.
It's up to you, man.
The idea is eventually to make the YouTube channel essentially, and I know we said this was the end of the episode, but I want to explain it for the viewers, because I know you guys are dedicated to this channel and the ones who watch, and I know that you guys care about what's going on, and so I feel open door policy is the best way to go. Especially if we're gonna focus on, we're still doing the podcast, so podcasts are still always gonna happen. We are taking a week off, but that's not because of any of this. It's actually for fun stuff. It's for Scotty's working on something fun for Mobcast Network, and that's gonna be a good time. That's gonna be a full day of stuff, so that's why we can't film next week. It also gives us a break, honestly, because while I don't think we're burnt yet.
We're not burnt out, but if you guys want us to sort of like keep up this energy, we're burning very brightly right now.
Yeah, and I've been...
We can't do that forever.
Yeah, and...
without like taking a rest.
And I've been told over and over again by other content creators, hey, just be careful. Like... Because they know my schedule. I've told them, I'm like, I do daily content and then I do these, and they're like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we have somebody that's in the Discord who's one of he's our first patron member, but he's also a friend of the Discord family, essentially, because he's in other Discords with me, and so that's why he was invited. He saw the schedule, like, he saw 3 videos coming out in a day, and he was like, "Are you okay?" I feel like you remember that conversation too.
He's like, what sort of madman?
He was like, "This is more output than most YouTubers." Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, it's because my goal always has been for this channel to eventually be treated like almost like a TV station, and that. A little backstory on where Escape Reality Films comes from. This has become a little bit of a history on the channel. Yeah. Me and 4 friends created this channel initially. 2 of them weren't as into it, so, and I'll tell you who's who off screen because you know all these people. And I don't want to name names because what happened. I don't feel mad about any of it. It's just it didn't go the way we thought.
Okay.
2 of them, they were only in it as a joke. They got out pretty quick. But the other 2, we kind of took it seriously. We started planning shows and stuff because the idea was that everybody was going to bring their own show to the table, and we would all work together to produce these shows.
All right.
I do feel kind of burnt on it, only because, not because, basically they Escape Reality Films was not the name I initially wanted. I was going to rebrand my already existing brand, which at the time was Lockwood Productions. I was going to rebrand it, do a new logo, and that was what I wanted. But they were like, no, that connects too much to you. And I saw their argument, because there was going to be 5 of us. But the fact that all of them dropped out and I'm the only one that's in charge of this now is where I kind of feel burnt, and I'm like, so I could have had Lockwood Productions this whole time. Escape Reality, I've come to love the Escape Reality Films name. It really fits the brand, and it works, but it was not the initial plan. And so we had some good ideas. They dropped, and then the other 2 eventually just never. Like, I would ask for scripts. I'd be like, "Hey, do you have your script?" No. Okay. Well, we need to work on it if we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And this was like we were just going without content. We had the channel made. We had the logo made, which the logo has been changed since then. We've upgraded logos since then. We really need to do a new logo soon. It's been a while. But they just never delivered content, and it's like, look, this is your show. You need to work with me. I'm working on my content because at the time I was doing student films at South, and so I was like, I have content that I can throw on there, but we need more. We just can't. A couple short films does not make a channel.
Yeah.
It can if you do them consistently, but that requires consistently making a film over like new films all the time.
Yeah.
Which thankfully, since I was studying film, I was. It's just not this. And eventually, I posted the first short film for that channel, the organized meeting. The first of the Antonio saga, as I call it.
I have watched the Antonio saga, and I am still confused.
It makes sense. I have everything. It all makes sense.
All I remember is that Antonio may or may not be immortal, I think.
He is.
Okay.
He is immortal. It's more of a healing sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like...
And he
got shot like 8 times. I was like...
Well, at the end of... Spoilers for Organized Meeting, he gets shot in the head at the end of it. That's kind of hard to come back from unless you're immortal.
Yeah.
Now, where his immortality comes from, that's where we don't really reveal that. Like,
yeah, no, that's never explained.
Price of Immortality, the sequel, kind of starts to go into it, but it never like says this is the. They never say this is absolutely what happened. I know what happened. I have the story. I've already there's a reason why Antonio is immortal, and why. Oh yeah, they actually never explain it in Price of Immortality.
Nope.
Price of Immortality, they're like, we know how to recreate that immortality, but we don't know how he's immortal.
Yeah.
I know that. I already I have that.
God. This has been a very illuminating podcast into like the channel, and like we are pulling back the screen a little bit, and like the like kind of what our lives have sort of been like grandparents dying channel.
And I think it's important to have these discussions every now and then. Like, I know this is a Star Wars focused podcast for the most part.
Yeah.
But I really don't have another podcast to have these conversations. I mean, I could start a third podcast, but right now my second podcast, me and the co-host have joked that it is cursed. Escape Reality Movie Talk is cursed.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Every time we're like, okay, this week we're coming back. We're gonna do the Avengers video.
Oh man.
Something happens, and I'm saving that because I want to save that for when we do finally come back. Because I've officially decided that the title for the next episode is just gonna be Escape Reality Movie Talk is cursed. That's if we ever come back. I think we will. I think for sure next week. We were supposed to be back this week, but then something happened. As always.
Yep.
I can say that she is not sick this time.
Oh boy.
The rest of them have been because she was sick. One of them was because we just forgot. Because she stopped being sick and then we forgot to come back. Because I forgot to just be like, hey, it's Wednesday.
Oh man.
And then this most recent one, complete left field.
Oh.
And I will tell you off camera.
All right, that's another off-camera thing.
But yeah, so around the time of organized meeting, that's when
things
kind of drifted. I took full control of the channel, and it's not like we signed contracts or anything. Nobody had ownership really. There was
just a case of other people left.
Like yeah, and like I was the last one there. I had the passwords. So I created the email. I was the one that was really invested. So it became mine.
Yeah.
Once again, no hard feelings to anybody that was involved, because I'm still friends with most of those people. I consider myself friends with all of them, but I don't talk to all of them regularly enough to completely consider that. But two of them, I still talk to very much on a semi-regular basis. So no hard feelings there, but it did become a thing of like, okay, well now what do I do?
Yeah.
And really the channel just became where I put my short films for a bit, because then we did Jimmy Tai, which that's another one I want to go back to. I like the Jimmy Tai universe.
I will admit. Wait, no. I remember what Jimmy Tai is about.
That's the James Bond parody.
Yep. I was like, I almost forgot what Jimmy Tai was about since it's been so long since I've sat down and watched it. Yeah,
the Jimmy Tai universe is great. In my opinion, I think it, and I already know what I want to do. I've already decided that it's going to be strictly 3 seasons. It's going to be 10 episodes each, and I basically know the outline. Like, I know the major arcs for all 3 seasons, and I know where some of the romances are going to end up, because there's romances.
Oh.
And so everything is. I know what I want to do with that project. I just have to sit down. There have been multiple attempts to bring that back.
Oh boy.
There was one time right after I graduated where we tried to do weekly meetings, and I got a bunch of other people on board. I basically tried to do it more like an actual show where I was a showrunner. I did the first episode, and I was going to direct the first episode, but then everybody else could write and direct their episodes. I just provided like the major arc, and I was like, here's the major arc, write your story within that arc, work with that. That went for a few weeks, but there were people just, this seems to be a problem all the time. People just didn't turn in their scripts.
Is it the same thing as me chewing my brother out for like not writing a backstory?
Yeah.
Because he never writes one before the game starts, and I'm like, that's all I need you to do. If you can just give me like 4 sentences and I can figure out the rest. But when you don't have that, you don't know what to do. And
but yeah, so like I kind of like I had episodes 2 and 3 done, but I wanted episode 4 done before we started like trying to film.
Yeah.
And then costuming was another thing that we had to deal with because we had to get a new wig for Kitty because the owner of the original wig moved.
Ah, well, yeah.
Also, the wig was cut. The original wig had a bob haircut, so we couldn't use the original wigs. I have the new wig. It's in my closet. The new wig is ready to go whenever we bring back Jimmy Ty. Another attempt to bring back Jimmy Ty was to make it animated.
How'd that go?
We got as far as character designs.
Oh.
So we actually have a Jimmy Ty character design. It's floating out there in the Google Drives.
Somewhere.
I could probably pull it up out of nowhere and pull it out. We also have a kitty drawing, an original design. So we had some character designs. We just didn't get past that. And that one is a case of the artist that was involved. He has a very busy schedule, so I can't fault him for that. It's the same reason why I'm not really getting him on board with the Super Worlds comic. Like, I would love for him to be involved, because he has done the art for Super Worlds 1 and Super Worlds 2's covers. So it makes sense to bring him in to a degree.
But busy schedule.
Yeah, busy schedule. Because he has a lot of commissions, and he's trying to go for actual, like, animation gig jobs. Because he was an animation major. So yeah, and D&D Adventures is probably the easiest one to bring back. The big issue for that is just me sitting down to write it. Thankfully the episodes are short because
they're skits.
They're skits. I do not. If a D&D Adventures episode goes past 5 minutes, something has gone wrong. I mean, maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes is
10 minutes.
10 minutes is the limit.
10 minutes, I think.
But if it has gone past 10 minutes, that is. So I've gotten too focused on that particular story, and so I've written a few of the episodes. Although I want to write some more episodes, move some of the episodes around. The pilot that's on YouTube right now is now not the first episode of the show in my rewrite, because I'm basically rebooting it.
Okay.
But like. Most of the actors are going to be the same. I know JP has made it very clear that he wants to come back as Sildenafil, which is hilarious because of how much hemming and hawing it took to get him in that dress to begin with.
Man.
It'd be harder to bring Jared back as Pippin Pataloposkopoulos. Or Pip for short.
Yeah. I don't think the reason
it's not that he doesn't.
It's just the travel distance.
It's the travel distance, which I mean, he only lives like 30 minutes from my house. But if we're going to like film locations, it's a little longer because we're going to film like further into Mobile, and he doesn't. He lives a little further out. And then on top of that, he's lost a lot of weight, which. Congrats to him on that. He's worked really hard to. He had the gastro surgery, and then ever since then he's been really good at keeping his new diet and everything. So I'm very proud of him for that. Which means he will not fit the costume that we got. Still a very tall, big guy, but he's lost a lot of the unnecessary weight, and I don't know if the costume would fit him.
That man is a giant.
Which is, part of why it's hilarious that we were like, oh, he's a dwarf with gigantism. And there's a reason. There's an in-universe reason. One of his parents is a dwarf, the other is a giant.
Speaking of...
And then...
sorry, continue.
And then we're recasting... I've already recast. I've recast both... Well, I have not recast Keith yet. I would like Colton Holcomb to come back. I love Colton Holcomb. He is hilarious as Keith. He really got into that speaking Shakespearean role. The one we had to recast was Ra, only because acting isn't really her thing.
Yeah.
I kind of was just able to drag her into it because at the time we were already doing a show on South's campus together.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Hey, would you want to do this? And I'll buy the costume and everything." And so I bought the outfit. Thankfully, I found somebody else who can fit that outfit, who is going to replace Raw. So the only one missing is Keith. I also want to recast Jimmy Tai completely, mainly because I like Colton Adams as an actor, but I gotta switch.
Yeah.
Just because he's a busy guy and just some personal reasons.
Yeah.
And then the actress who played Kitty, she moved. She's gone.
She's
She's gone. Same thing with what was it? N? Yeah, N. N moved. She's the one that owned the wig.
So, this is tangentially related.
No, you're fine.
D&D
We are in no rush. We might wrap up soon though.
Yeah. So, I was talking with you about this earlier, because you play in the Tuesday game.
Yep.
And this is sort of what we were talking about in the car, where I don't think that my world is very dark. Everyone has disagreed with me on this.
Except me, really.
Except you.
I do think that it can, excuse me, it can be dark. It's a villain campaign. It's meant to be a little bit dark.
Yeah.
But I see it as campy dark.
Yeah.
Like it's, but then again, thanks to, shout out to Julia from Star Wars English class. Shout out to Julia and Fern. I think everything is camp.
Yeah.
Everything is camp.
They, and Ethan and Andrew and Tori played like the original campaign, and you got a little snippet of that for that like little bonus.
Yeah.
Like Davey and Johnny sort of story that's set in like after that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Seth, you let us kill homeless people with like syphilis arrows."
Yeah, that's
I expected you to be better than killing homeless people. And I'm like, I didn't make you do that. And that was a choice you made.
And that becomes a discussion of story driven or character driven, and it's character driven, and the characters have. I mean, as a good DM, which I think you are, I think a lot of my friends are good DMs. I've played under a lot of good DMs. It's all about player agency. It might be argued that I take player agency too far. I allow a little bit more than you would. But player agency is key. It can be argued that my player agency is very much, oh, you did that, okay. But I do have consequences.
Yeah.
We are now dealing with the third act of consequences for something that happened 300 years ago in my game. You know, the bombing of terrorists has had consequences 300 years later. And her name is Leela.
Oh.
Her name was Leela.
God,
not Lola.
God, trying to figure out what to do with that woman is one of those things that like keeps me up at night. I'm like, how do I fix the immortal into not being a problem?
Yeah. Well, she's only immortal as long as she has the armor. Because that's, because that's the deal she's got with Freedom Nad. But yeah. I think it only gets as dark as players make it.
Yeah.
For example, this is kind of a preview of content that could potentially come out later for the channel, because Josh has offered from... I think actually Josh is going to take it to his own channel, but Goblin's game started, and I'm playing as a character that's basically Venom, which is why Venom was on the movie list, because some of the players haven't seen Venom yet. And so instead of like a symbiote sort of deal, it's my tattoos can come off my body and then switch bodies, and the tattoos are kind of like a living creature. We've endearingly called it an ink blot creature. It has no actual like name yet.
Yeah.
But we started the first session off with a torture scene for my character.
Oh boy.
We, of course, had to find a way to make that not triggering.
Yeah.
And you can do that, depending on how you present it.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I was being trigger warning for those that might consider this a little further than...
Surprisingly, the podcast is actually rated M for mature.
Yeah, it's not like we say fuck and shit all the time.
That's on me.
I say fuck sometimes. But I also don't get as, like I calmly explain things and then you angrily explain it.
Yeah. It's a weird sense of emotional investment.
Yeah, but trigger warning.
Yeah.
For a little bit, for slight torture.
Yeah.
I basically had shock. I was being shocked.
Okay.
And that's for me personally, that is light. That's not like, and even a little bit of waterboarding can be light, depending how it's presented. Now, of course, once you start once again, trigger warning, start ripping nails off people.
Oh yeah.
That's when it's.
Oh, this is in regards to the villains game. There was an almost
getting to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't like doing.
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
It's very much that. Adrielle, when she gets kidnapped and interrogated, it's like the implication is bad enough.
Yeah.
So it's I don't have to really go into it.
And so that'd be where my line kind of starts to hit, and stuff like that.
Like stuff where it's here's your pinky.
Yeah.
Here's a hammer. Start talking.
Yeah. But and while waterboarding is serious, and so is shock.
It's not. I think it's something.
Oh, do you need to take that?
No.
Okay. It's somewhat removed. I feel like.
I feel like waterboarding and shock isn't something like a hammer and a pinky is mundane brutality.
Yeah.
Which I think goes a lot
into
the world setting.
Yeah, shocking and waterboarding is more psychological.
Yeah.
And I can deal with a little bit more psychological type stuff to a degree. Once you start doing stuff like what the FBI or CIA would do, then you're But I mean, Star Wars has shock torture all the time. So
because for me it's ocular trauma. I don't like that.
Seeing no thank you.
You know that.
Yeah, anytime a needle is near your eye. Nope.
No. I can deal with a lot, but not that one.
Anytime a Final Destination thing had a death that was let's tease your eye.
The only time I have genuinely tried to hit my father or mother is when they were giving me eye drops as a kid.
Yeah. It's why I don't have contacts, because and I've been explaining that contacts aren't that bad, but I just can't imagine putting my finger
I don't like it. What if it goes to the side?
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I don't want to scratch my eye either.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be my luck that I would mess it up somehow to that degree.
Yeah.
And then I look like Malcolm McDowell. You know what though? Actually, Malcolm McDowell can.
All right.
He's respected, so.
But
yeah, get rid of getting out of the warning. So yes, so my character, they in order to make it light, I started just making fun of the torture. Making your mom jokes and teasing them, stuff that's lighthearted. Because whenever he'd ask me a question, I'd be like, "Your mom," and stuff like that, and it makes it lighthearted, and that's where it's the player's job to kind of find the balance between that darkness and levity.
Because the way because
you can only provide so many jokes in the game yourself. While yes, you play all the NPCs, not every NPC can be the funny. Some NPCs have to be serious.
I don't think any of my PCs have ever cracked a joke.
Yeah,
they'll be a smartass from time to time, but they don't actually go out of their way to make a joke or anything.
Yeah, Except for maybe he's Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga's funny. Maybe not intentionally, but
No.
Baba Yaga's hilarious, especially because she fucked over Drew.
Yes. He's the most, like... Andrew, I don't know why, my younger brother, I don't know why this is, but every campaign, like, something bad happens, he is always the one, like, how do I fix this? And I'm like, you could just talk to, like, the figures like Devil or people who you shouldn't be making deals with in order to fix it.
Yeah, because you could go around her.
Yeah. I was like, he got 3 warnings on the way there.
I warned him.
Yeah, you warned him. The people in World warned him twice.
Yeah, you either don't make deals with Baba Yaga, or you really look at that contract.
Yeah. But then again, Baba Yaga is supposed to be kind of like,
yeah, she's a trickster. But yeah. Okay, let's wrap it up for real. I'm gonna redo the outro just a bit, just to remind everybody. So once again, the point of all of that was that YouTube content's gonna be a little slower. I do plan to still try to release content. I might go to a weekly schedule, just to space it out. We're definitely gonna have podcasts though, so don't worry about Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. Don't worry about Escape Reality Movie Talk when it gets back. I just want to take this time so I can either make more content that's like higher quality, so like Jimmy Tai, like original content. I want to make original content really badly. That is my bread and butter. Video game content and Let's Plays have been useful to keep the channel active, but I need more than that on a creative side. So yeah, you can find us at, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/Escape Reality Films. Give us a like and subscribe. If you want to check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94. Give us a follow and subscribe. If you want to support us on Patreon, like I said, for that first level, you join our Discord, hang out for movie night, where we're going to watch Solo this week. And you can vote on the next movie. So that first tier gets you access to all that. Second tier gets you access to content a week before it's uploaded to YouTube. I'm probably going to add some extra benefits to that, just because, like I said, with YouTube content dropping a little bit, I'm going to try to give an extra incentive. Higher levels, speaking of my novels from earlier, I think it's the last level, gets you access to all 3 of my books as part of that one. So you get Super Worlds, the Coat Wars short story collection, and Time Ninja, all as part of that payment, which you get your money's worth because each book is about $10, and I think that one is a $20 to $25 tier. So you save money on top of like getting all the access to the other stuff. You get to be part. You can listen in on our meetings once we start working on other projects. Like once we start doing original content, we're gonna have our creators meetings in the Discord server. So you'll get access to that. You can get access to our scripts early, so you can read whenever I do. For example, D&D Adventures, some of the script it's in the server. If you want to know what's going on with that and you want to see what I've written so far,
yep, you can do that. I know. I've read them,
and I
haven't read them in a while.
Yeah, I think the new season, the new version of it is an improvement story wise, because I'm making a larger arcing story, along with the skits, and then Jimmy Tai stuff is in there too somewhere, and so. Yeah, that's your way to get access early and just interact with the community and hang out with us. We have some of our guests that have been on this show, one of our only guests is in the server. She's not too active, but that's fine. Shaylee's taking a break from things, so as she is like me right now, she is feeling burnt on certain things. So like, I get it, I understand, and so yeah, and. I plan to have our other guest on there, and in fact, that if you join the server, that's a way you can. I think the higher tier gets you access to the Escape Reality Star Wars Talk channel, but you can see who our guests are before we've announced them, because we've got 3 guests that I've already planned out for future episodes.
Assuming that nothing
goes wrong.
goes wrong.
Because we got a guest for. Because I can make the announcement now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who they are because that's going to be the fun. But we got a guest for Brotherhood. Which means if I get the arc for that, I'm going to review it twice. I'll do a non-spoiler review using the arc, and then the podcast episode will be the spoiler review. And that's going to be the week 2 weeks after Celebration, I think.
Alright.
Or something like that. No, it's a few. It's much. Yeah, it's. I think it's like after. It's after. I know it's after Celebration that we're reviewing that. And then we got Shadow of the Sith. I got a guest for that. And that's the one with Luke and Lando going to Exegol. And then I got. Which, not the guest I thought I could, because I was going to try to get, I was going for a specific guest on that one, but I don't mind the guest we got, because he's a good guest, but I was thinking somebody else for sure. And then I actually got a guest for Kenobi. I did not put that out yet.
Alright.
But yeah, I got a guest for Kenobi for when we talk about the show. So, got a good lineup.
Yeah.
And so if you want to know who those people are, because I'm going to repost that schedule with the reveal of who's in the Obi-Wan one. If you want to see that, join the Patreon.
Yeah.
I also want to thank Cult Movie Cantina and Gamers and Geeks.
Yeah.
Not Geeks and Gamers. Gamers and Geeks. Very, very different. Gamers and Geeks is our local local gaming store. And you can get D&D, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, anything you can really think of, like gaming-wise. They got board games and card games and all that. Miniatures, because like we said last week, they had their tournament for their little contest for miniatures, and they host X-Wing games as well. I don't play X-Wing, but they host X-Wing nights, I think. And so, a lot to do. They also have the arcade in the back, $10 for the full day.
Yep.
You play whatever games you want. Engage Gaming is another store that's in the same store.
You can
in the building.
Rent out
consoles. Yep, the monthly fee.
Yep.
Basically come in, say, hey, I'm a member. Here's my name, and they have like a bunch of games already in there that you can pick from. You can play on your PlayStation, Xbox, PC. You can also play on VR. And then as far as Cult Movie Cantina, we just did our... So we've got...
all reviewed...
So we haven't reviewed it yet. I think it's coming out. So yeah, this upcoming week, we are talking about a very gigantic problem. You could say it's a very cold film. But I might feel like king of the world after talking about it. It's Titanic.
I'm not gonna make fun of that.
So
I'm gonna make fun of one of the biggest tragedies in the 19th century.
So we talk about Titanic in this upcoming episode. So we get into some Leo and So that's fun. That was a fun episode. No, wait, is it this week or is it next week? It might be next week. Hold on. But if you want to find them, you can find them on YouTube at youtube.com/Mopcast Network. You can also find them on any app that you use to listen to podcasts. Yeah, so this week, that's already out, we talk about the Oscars. We also...
That's what I'm laughing about.
Yep. This right here that we're looking at. Oh, that particular thing?
Yep.
Yeah. So we talk about the thing that's obvious to talk about with the Oscars. With some hindsight, because, at the time of filming, we had a week out of the Oscars themselves, so we've had time to reflect. and sort our opinions out. And then we talk about other stuff, but like we look into the history of the Oscars as well. So we go beyond the obvious story. And so yeah, and then this week we're gonna talk. You're gonna see Titanic.
Mm.
And then what else? Oh yeah. We also have Tuesdays with Scotty now out, which is a new show. This is basically it's basically the show that's what we just did for where they just talk about Scotty just talks about whatever he feels like.
Yeah.
We need to make one of those.
Oh man.
Where I just talk about whatever I feel like. Give y'all more of a behind the curtains look and all that type of stuff. But and then this episode, the first episode that's out currently, we talked to Drew Hall, who's a local filmmaker. Really good guy. I've worked with him on editing some stuff for him. And so we talked to him. We talked about some other stuff. We tell a story about these kids that went missing and never were found after the house was put on fire.
Oh boy.
And like the mystery is, well, did they die in the fire, or did they just disappear, and what happened to them? So, and then I forget who we get for the next week, but for this week you got Drew. And then My Star Wars Life. We're taking a break this week, but the most recent episode was last week. We talked about Obi-Wan and a little bit of Celebration. So yeah, that is everything. You guys, if you're on Twitch, go ahead and stick around.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna get us set up to play some Lego Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are on YouTube, this is it.
Also, thank you to the Mopcast Network.
Yeah, I shouted them out.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about their shows. Yeah, because they gave us the studio along with Gamers and Geeks.
And
is there something else that you're trying to figure out? Something I missed?
No, I'm trying to. I don't think she watches the show.
Oh. Do you still want to shout out?
Yeah. To my little sister Annalise, in case you ever do watch this, and I don't know if you will, happy birthday.
Yeah,
happy
birthday.
Time of recording, it's April 9th.
Well, yeah.
So
which we're live, so
yeah,
it works. If this was a purely recorded show, then yeah. But since this is live, yeah, happy birthday. I don't know you, but
no, I don't think you.
No, but you're related to Seth, so you're family.
Yeah. All right. I think with that.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for now. Like I said, if you're on Twitch, stick around.
Yeah.
Because Seth is gonna play Lego Star Wars. I'll join him in a bit.
You guys get to see me and video game confusion.
All right. Well, we're trying to work on outros.
Yeah.
So
our outro just gonna be that we can't figure one out.
You know what? I have spoken.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be mine. I have spoken.
Fuck it. I'm done. Have a good day.
We'll figure out yours next time.